mobile phone, which I did, and then it went off. So really, they're not very sensitive. And as far as I'm concerned, the key job of the metal detector is to pick up metal, and they weren't. They told us about an evacuation of London, that if this was to happen, that we would be responsible for looking after the members of the public. They talked about 200,000 casket linings. When I asked them what's a casket lining, they said, oh, it's like a plastic coffin that fits 4 people. And that, to me, got me thinking of like, well, why would you have that? Okay, on one hand, you could say, all right, it's the Olympics. You never know what's going to happen. There might be a huge natural disaster, an earthquake that's never happened in Stratford or something. I don't know. So you might need these. On the other hand, it reminded me of preparation for false flags. So this is what G4S was like. So after being there and doing the training, I went to Andy Davis, who's the Home Affairs correspondent for Channel 4 News, and I pitched him the story. I emailed him. He called me back. We had a conversation. He said, look, Channel 4 wouldn't be interested in this. There's kind of a press blackout on doing anything negative about the Olympics. We're not going to be interested, so thanks a lot. And that was it. That was the end of the call. Anyway, I mentioned his name on the radio in that exact same context. Anyway, last night, Sunday night, he rang me at home on my private home number and basically pretended that he had never spoken to me, that I didn't know him, and that I was just one big liar, and this was a major lie, and, I'm in real trouble now. And to be honest, I could have handled myself better on the call, but I got so angry at the audacity of this man. Anyway, I can prove that our relationship goes back to 2010. I've got emails. I called him for something. He emailed me. I emailed him back. We've got correspondence. So, how does he figure that one out? And so he knows who I really am, which is why I've had to come out as Ben Fellows, which is who I am. And I'm actually worried now that he's gone to G4S to tell them who I am. And so now I'm actually fearing for my safety. So I thought, look, the best thing to do is come out, tell everyone who you are, why you did it, and be the face of this thing, own it, because that's what this is all about, really, at the end of the day. I've got to leave G4S now. That's it. I'm done because I've been burnt, really, or I don't know that I have. So it's a possibility. So in that way, you can't ever go back in because, I don't want to be on private property with G4S guys.
Sure. Days after you came on Tony Gosling's show and the day after you came on our broadcast, there was a national TV report or several of them admitting, security problems and confirming some of what you were saying. Do you think that was damage control?
Yeah, I think so, really. They had the managing director of global events on. And, the hardest question that the journalist asked was said, well, are you sure we're going to be ready? And he said, well, I can't categorically say that we'll be ready. Well, why not? It's the Olympics. You've got to categorically say, we're ready. We're going to go at this date. It starts, So, I think that was damage control. I don't think they wanted to do that. I spoke to a journalist this afternoon who's thinking about doing the story. And, he thought that it was the same sort of thing as well, damage control and what have you. We spoke a little bit about it. So, yeah, I think it was, quite honestly.
We're going to have to continue to track this as it unfolds. But what were you originally doing this for? I mean, what gave you the instinct or the idea to try to, the inclination, I should say, to try to infiltrate this?
Well, several things, really. I'd heard anecdotally of some horror stories with people who work for the cash delivery services and things like that, keys go missing, there's general sort of mistakes. I spoke to a mother of a soldier via someone else. I have to say it was secondhand. However, she had said that her son had been in Iraq as a private soldier with G4S, come out of a bar and killed 2 of his colleagues. And she was claiming, or she said, that he should never have been hired by G4S because after he worked for the British Army, he had post-traumatic stress disorder, and G4S, it was irresponsible for G4S to hire him. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to sign up and go to war with these people. I'll sign up and do something else. Now, I was interested in doing the events team and being part of that because it's ad hoc. I could be in the events team for a year. It's odd weekends, event or in the week, and then I can still do all my other things because sometimes you have to be in organisations for a year or more before you start really, getting into things. The Olympics has given me an opportunity. It's been very intense. And so I've seen G4S up close and personal as they've tried to get these 10,400, people who are basically long-term unemployed quickly through a training course.
Okay, so it is literally right out of Clockwork Orange. Now, expanding on that, now that you're revealing your name, who specifically, or what was the date of them talking about some huge event is coming at the end of the Olympics?
That's right. Right, okay. So I'm in this training class, and one of the trainers says that we are going to be involved in I don't have my notes here with me, so I'm not quoting exactly, but, an historic event in London is going to happen, and we're going to be involved. Actually, it was a defining moment in the history of London, thank you. So that was what was said. And I said, oh, what do you mean? That's like the Paralympics, right? Because after the Olympics, Paralympics. And she went, no, this is not to do with the Olympics. This is something else. But it would be a defining moment in the history of London. And she wouldn't expand anything more. She said, but, you would be involved. So I took that two ways, again, as I usually do. One version could be, well, okay, we all work for G4S afterwards and we all have permanent jobs. Fantastic, great. That's the legacy that they're going to leave Stratford, which would be a good thing, employing the long-term unemployed and all that kind of thing. The other thing was, oh, my God, what do they mean that we're going to be involved in sort of marshalling the general public, dealing with the general public? What disaster could make people leave London?
Do you think that's just part of the training to see what you'd say or do, or did you see any other signs that they may be actually planning to evacuate London?
Well, as far as what happened in the room, they have 800 people a day go through this school. I don't know if there's other schools doing the same thing. There may be so. They have 800 people a day go through this place. What these trainers say is just written down for them. They're doing it off a PowerPoint presentation. And, all the commentary they do, it's all exactly the same. It's to the book. They've got a script and they stick to it. So what they say is what they say. I've got a contact who is an army major in the British Army who is posted at Woolwich Barracks. And he told me that there was, from January to the Olympics, there's going to be 100,000 troops coming into London through Woolwich Barracks. And the idea is they get helicoptered in by Chinook helicopter. They go into Woolwich Barracks. They have some sort of, medical or something like that, which is why he knows about it. And then they all get dispatched off to wherever they're going next. It's like a gateway kind of. And
you were saying it was UN, NATO, foreign troops. All right. Well, we're going to continue to watch this. We appreciate you coming on the broadcast, and hopefully down the road, are you going to be able to release any audio, any video of anything that happened inside of the United Nations PR event at the Olympics, or is this going to be basically the end of this?
Well, they know who I am now. So, I'll certainly be releasing the conversation that I've had with Andy Davis. As for the training thing, not really. We have to play it by ear, I think, and see how it goes. But what I don't want to do now is sort of upset people so much that I actually get physically harmed. So I'm actually a bit worried now.
Well, yes, if what you're saying is completely accurate, or what they told you is accurate, then you are a key witness to something that is so big they may not be able to even reverse it, despite the fact it's been exposed. But we've gotten whistleblowers before other big events. I hope that the people you were talking to were misinformed, but I doubt that's the case. Thank you so much for the time. There goes Ben Fellows, whistleblower and director, TV producer out there in the United Kingdom working on that. Okay, here's what I want to do now. I want to go to your phone calls for this little part of the segment, the next segment, and then continue for a while with calls. I really want to go to a lot of calls. Those two callers we took earlier were amazingly informed and brought up really good points. Everybody wants to talk about government-run health care. where the government sets the type of care, so the insurance companies make you buy their product, but then they control what the product is, a monopoly of service. And where they then have the IRS come after you if you don't buy the private product. A new level of corruption. But, I mean, is it really? They're now taking people's houses that the banks never had the mortgage to that were paid for in cash. They're not just reselling mortgages over and over again, and then you haven't paid off your house and some bank you never knew of came and said, we're taking your home even though you're not even behind. I mean, they're taking houses where they're not even behind. I was just thinking this morning about that again because I was reading some news articles about how they're admitting that with the different mirror system and different systems they use in banking and use with the mortgages that it's totally illegal, but they don't care if the courts aren't doing anything about it. I mean, I'm digressing off into that area. It's just a wall of criminality, and we're losing all our checks and balances and protection. And it's not that I even dislike police themselves individually, because I know there's real crime and real things going on. But it's just the feeling of driving home at night and having police randomly get behind me twice and run my plates or whatever at 10 o'clock at night, driving down the highway, and then speed off around me and just randomly pull over somebody else. Just out hunting, just randomly. Meanwhile, there's all this real crime going on. I could drive to multiple spots in Austin, Texas, where I'm broadcasting from, and show you crack dealers and crackhead prostitutes out on the street. But then if I drive home at 7, 8, 9, 10 at night, I've got to have cops behind me. And then so many police are listeners that almost every time I get pulled over, they're like, oh, hi, Alex, like the show. You can go. I got pulled over with Dave Mustaine and his wife at about midnight because I was taking him over to my house after a show. He was staying with me. I'm not name dropping. I'm just telling you a story. And I guess I was going 5 miles over the speed limit. He pulls me over, comes over, looks in, goes, all right, Alex, you can go. And I'm just like, Friday, I'm going over to my grandmother's, and I shouldn't have probably done it. But, I mean, I took a wrong turn, so I drove over the median down the grass over and he pulls me over. And he was a listener. But, I mean, so I'm trying to figure this out. I guess it's just the job. You just shark around, getting on people's bumper, running their plates. I don't know. Let me ask you a question. What does freedom mean to you? Freedom to choose. They did a lot of bad things. But they turned over health care completely, not just to a corrupt government, but to the banks that own the big insurance companies. And so they're calling this socialist health care, and I guess it is for some of the people that get the death care, the death panels, the chicken feed, watered-down National Health Service stuff they get in England. But for everybody else now, the IRS is your doctor. They get your medical records, everything. And I saw earlier this year, Obama had his people announcing that they're going to share your IRS records amongst agencies. Of course, that's illegal. That's why they want to make it law that they can, so they can use that for dirty tricks. I mean, it's just, why not? Why not? I mean, they ship guns to Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. Why not? Why not kill U.S. citizens? Why not get rid of the Bill of Rights and Constitution? Why not put breathalyzers and face scanning cameras in all the cars? Because that's what's next. Toyota's talking about, oh, if you're not authorized, it's all computerized. It will recognize your